What is up, everybody? This is Anthony with VR 365. What is going on? It is Saturday. It is February 16th, and it is basically high noon. It is high noon. I am not high, but it is noon. And let's see here. This is episode 100 of our show. And you know what that means? Special guest Jason Rubin, not quite. Yeah, no, there's no special guest. John Carmack is not waiting right now to be introduced. It's just another episode. It's another episode among many. And honestly, if anything, this is probably closer to a shiz show than anything else, which is good for episode 100. Actually, you know what? We've got a lot of little things, and I've had a lot of little things before, and I don't know. We could run through all this stuff in about 20 minutes, or maybe it will take a little bit longer. We'll just have to figure it all out. But let's go ahead and get it started. So let's see. Very first story of the day. Actually, before I get into the very first story, I got to talk about who is bringing you this episode. Episode 100 has been brought to you by, let's see here, Croaky, Cry-like, Krillic, something like that. That is who brought you this show today. And Krillic, Cry-like is our 6th Patreon supporter. So we've now gone through 6 of our various Patreon supporters. We will eventually get through everybody, and everybody can sponsor a show, and that is Krillic, something like that. Go ahead and shoot me an email with the proper pronunciation. I probably should reach out to these people ahead of time and try to get a proper pronunciation before I do this. Why can't I just get a Patreon supporter named John Smith, okay? Where's John Smith when you need him? All right, but yeah, this episode is brought to you by Krillic. How would you guys pronounce that? You tell me. Okay, so let's see. The first story of the day. Okay, so let's get into the first story of the day. We're going to switch over to our webby browser, and this is our first official story of the day, Beat Blaster by Ivanovich Games. Ivanovich Games has released Beat Blaster. Now, this actually came out yesterday, and where was the announcement? I didn't see the announcement for this, but this did hit yesterday. You can go ahead and grab it. It is available right now on Steam. You can play this on your Oculus Rift, your HTC Vive, or Windows Mixed Reality. It's going for $16. The normal price is $20, and it has this special 20% off promotion until February 22nd. Now, here's the question I have. The question I have was, when that Audica trailer got released by Harmonix and when Audica got announced, did that speed up the release date for Beat Blaster? It's possible, or maybe it's just pure coincidence, because we actually did know a long time ago. In fact, this was before February 1st. If you go back to our February 1st show, we were talking about the games of February. And I had a montage of the games of February, and Beat Blaster was one of those games. We didn't have a date. We knew that it was coming in February, but we didn't have a completely locked in release date. But it is out there. It is available on Steam. This is probably a little bit different. This is different than Audica, actually, in certain ways, because Audica, I feel like Audica, you're basically just standing on a stage, kind of Space Pirate Trainer-esque, and then all this stuff is going to happen out in front of you. Where Beat Blaster, it seems like you're kind of traveling down a pathway. It's like you're traveling down a pathway and you're doing stuff to the beat with a singular gun. Where Audica, you got the dual guns, and it's all happening in front of you, basically on a stage in front of you. Although, you know what? Actually, we're looking at the logo here, and it shows 2 guns right there. So maybe at some point you get 2 guns, although I'm looking at all these individual pictures, and they all seem to show a singular gun here. But yeah, this is Beat Blaster. I think it looks very colorful. You know, it looks pretty interesting, and I wouldn't mind checking this game out. Now, I also believe this is coming to PlayStation VR, but I don't believe it's available on PlayStation VR right now. So I think it's going to come to PlayStation VR a little bit later. Of course, these are the devs of Operation Warcade, Ivanovich Games. They've actually brought out quite a few different games. And there's 30 songs and ambient sound. Each level introduces a novelty, and all the games are different thanks to the intelligent generation of levels. The music isn't playing in your ears, but is actually playing in the spaceship disco, using all the walls to really bounce. Beat Blaster is a VR game in which the player must master the art of shooting, running, dodging obstacles and enemies, an original mix of styles, with each level offering a new challenge. So it looks kind of cool. I don't know if anybody's tried this yet. Let's see. I don't think we have any reviews on here yet. Yeah, no user reviews yet. I know there is a post on the Vive subreddit by Ivanovich Games, I believe, that is kind of like letting people know, hey, this is out there. This is Beat Blaster. I think it looks kind of cool. But who knows? Who knows ultimately which way this can go? And it is a bit of bad timing. I mean, it really is that this did not get a chance to live out there and shine out there for a good month before Audica got dropped, because I think there's probably a lot of people that might consider this. Like, if I was a regular civilian dude and wasn't involved in this industry, if I'm just a regular gamer that's thinking about what game I want to play, I'm probably looking at this and thinking, man, this does look kind of cool. It does look kind of sweet. But I don't know, man. I think I'm going to go with Audica. It's harmonics, man. It's harmonics. Of course, we don't know what the price of Audica is going to be. Now, the regular price for this is $20. You can grab it for $16 right now. That is Beat Blaster. Okay, so that is our #1 story of the day. All right, let's go to our second biggest story of the day. Actually, I need to pop my chat out here. Okay, I got my chat popped, and it's over here like this. All right. Let's see. So Paradise Decay. Oh, in chat, they're talking a little bit about Eagle Flight. I know somebody mentioned in chat, I think Mysterious Mr. X mentioned that he's always boycotted for years Eagle Flight because of the forced comfort mode, but he finally grabbed it. And Chris is saying, is the forced comfort mode still there? And yes, it is, but it's nowhere near as bad as I expected. They have added VR controller support for the buttons, no motion controls. It's not a bad game, actually. Yeah, I played Eagle Flight way back in the days on PlayStation VR, and in fact, I believe that Eagle Flight was a game, I rented it. I think there was a physical version. I think I got a physical disc, and I had GameFly way back then, and I was actually getting physical games. This is right when the PlayStation VR first launched, and I thought it made sense to go and get a GameFly account, and you know, may as well, right? May as well rent a bunch of the physical releases for PlayStation VR. And I believe I did get Eagle Flight, and I played a little ways through it, and it does have this like cartoony look to it, and it flows pretty good. I liked it. I liked Eagle Flight, but yeah, it does have some vignettes that are basically kind of forced on you that are a little bit disappointing. But yeah, that is Eagle Flight. Okay, so anyway, the next story we got here is Oculus has apparently filed a patent. Now, this is a while back. They have apparently filed a patent for a tracking solution that is similar to Valve's Lighthouse. Now, I saw this on the Vive subreddit. I saw this on the Vive subreddit, and so I'm trying to figure this thing out here, because if you go down here, you see that this patent was made public on August 3rd, 2017, and I guess this patent was finally approved on February 5th, 2019, and it says passive locators for a virtual reality headset. A virtual reality headset includes a plurality of marker groups, each corresponding to a different location on the VR headset. Each marker group includes one or more passive locators having positions relative to each other. Passive locators included in a marker group are configured to reflect one or more bands of light emitted by a source device. A VR system determines positions of passive locators relative to each other in a marker group and bands of light reflected by the blah, 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 blah. Bottom line is, it sounds very, very, very similar to the Valve Lighthouse situation. Now, this was filed, you can see right here, this was filed on April 18th, 2017, and I guess it just got approved recently. But we also have like related U.S. patent documents. This was filed back on January 14th, 2015. So not really, we don't really have much to go on here. Just basically Facebook, you got to understand they're going to patent just about everything that they possibly can patent because you never know when you might need it. Does this mean that Oculus at some point is going to bring out a Lighthouse type device for one of their future headsets? I don't think so. I think that a lot of these developers, like back in the days, I said, why doesn't Oculus just go ahead and license the technology from Valve? You know, swallow the pride and just license the technology straight up from Valve. That never happened. And obviously, you know, it's not shocking that it never happened because it would be quite embarrassing, to be honest with you, if they did do that. Like, that would be a big news story, and it would almost be like, you know, when your dog is guilty and he's got his tail between his legs and he's looking at you and you know that he was digging in the garbage can or something like that and he got busted. And that's kind of like what Zuck would look like if that happened. So they never decided to do that. And then you also think about Sony. Well, what about Sony? Why don't they make something like a Lighthouse? And I think it actually would behoove Sony to a certain degree because you're not going to have cameras going all over the place. And we need to have some kind of tracking where you don't have to have wires that go back to the system. But now everybody is going towards inside-out tracking. I think that's where we're going to go, is you build the tracking into the device itself. It's inside-out tracking, and we just got to keep making the inside-out tracking better and better and better and better. And I think it's only a matter of time. These cameras are cheap enough. You can put enough cameras in enough different positions on the headset where you can have good inside-out tracking that is also going to find your controller way back behind you. One of the downsides, though, that we do get into in regards to inside-out tracking is you are going to need some light. You're going to need some ambient light so that the inside-out tracking system can see your floor, it can see your ceiling, and it can see your walls. It can just get the basics of it. And it has to have a little bit of ambient light for that. Where I've played stuff with, you know, with the HTC Vive back in the day, I've been in damn near complete darkness in here, and it works just fine. And even Oculus with the USBs work pretty good in damn near darkness. Not quite pitch black, but they work pretty good as well. But yeah, we're moving to the inside-out thing, and Chris says, I still don't trust inside-out tracking. And why would you? Why would you trust it? Because nobody has made an inside-out tracking system that has fully lived up to our hopes and dreams quite yet. We haven't seen one yet. That doesn't mean we aren't going to see one in the near future, and hopefully we're going to see one in the very, very, very near future, which actually leads us to our next story, and that is a hell of a transition. So why don't we bounce back over here to our Webby browser? And yeah, the next story that we have, let's go over here to Upload VR, and you can see right here, let me scroll down a little bit. So here it is. Oculus is going to host a pre-GDC event, which is going to feature not yet announced Quest demos. So we're going to have some unreleased Quest games are going to be there. We're going to have possibly some unknown, never before even announced Oculus Rift games as well. There's going to be new builds of Stormland, new builds of Asgard's Wrath. possibly a new build for Defector. Maybe Lone Echo 2 can be there. There's going to be a lot of stuff here. So this is hyped. The GDC machine is in full force. We're about a month away. Yeah, this is what's going on. And so basically what Upload VR is saying is in their email box, they got an email from Oculus. Oculus reached out to them and said, hey, we're having a press-only demo event where you will be able to check out a number of new Rift and Oculus Quest demos never before seen, and this is all going to pop off. Now, when is this happening? This is happening Monday, March 18th, and all the information from this one demo event is going to be embargoed for a couple of days until Wednesday, March 20th. And then that is when all this information is going to hit. And so all these different press outlets are going to be talking about everything they demoed, everything they tried. And, you know, this was actually on the Oculus Rift subreddit. If I go over here, here's the Oculus Rift subreddit, and let's just refresh this real quick just to make sure we got the latest over here. But if you scroll down a bit, yeah, right here, Oculus to host pre-GDC event. And I actually jumped into this. And this is me right here. I got 17 points. Yeah, buddy. And I jumped into this off the off chance that maybe somebody in Oculus will see this and maybe I can get my butt in there. You know what I mean? Because I missed out on the last Oculus Connect. I didn't go to the last Oculus Connect. I've never tried an Oculus Quest. I've never demoed any of this stuff. And that would be super awesome. I would make the drive. I am in Sacramento, California. It is a bit of a drive to get all the way out. I'm not sure exactly where they're hosting this, but if it's like Palo Alto or you're talking like San Jose-ish area, it's like a good 3-hour drive, maybe even longer with traffic and all of that. It's a hell of a drive, but I will drive my butt out there if somehow I could get into this thing. But so far, I have not heard from anybody. So no comments, no emails. So I don't know. Maybe it could be one of these things where if you're not Road to VR, if you're not Upload VR, if you're not a major press outlet like an IGN or a GameSpot, or you know, some of these other major outlets like a Giant Bomb or something, you're just simply not going to get an invite. But it's unfortunate because I could make the drive. I could actually get there and make that drive and check that out. That would be sweet, but that hasn't happened for me yet. But anyway, we are excited about this event. Hopefully we will find out about quite a few new Oculus Quest games. And Upload VR, actually, if we go back to Upload VR, more games are starting to be confirmed for Oculus Quest. And that actually leads into our next story. So let's go ahead and go back to the main page here of Upload VR. And Quiver Vanguard has been confirmed for Oculus Quest. And not only this, but it is going to feature cross-play, multiplayer play with players on an Oculus Go. So maybe, just maybe, do not sell your Oculus Go's right away, because there may be some games where you're going to be on your Oculus Quest and you can play a multiplayer game with somebody that is on an Oculus Go. So maybe you want to hold on to your Oculus Go, because you could grab a game like Quiver Vanguard, and if you had it on your Oculus Go and your Oculus Quest, you could go over to somebody's house and you could get some live multiplayer action, completely wireless. You can basically be in the same room. You got to be careful about, you know, colliding into each other, but this is going to be a thing. We're going to see some cross-play between some Oculus Quest games and some Oculus Go games. This might be a little bit disappointing to some people, though, because they might think, man, I was hoping the Oculus Quest was kind of far beyond the Go, and that, you know, you wouldn't be sharing similar games across the two platforms. But we have to remember the Snapdragon that is in the Oculus Go and the Snapdragon that is in the Oculus Quest, they're not that big of a difference. It's not a gigantic night and day difference. Now, of course, you got active cooling. You don't have the operating system responsibilities of what a Snapdragon 835 would have in a phone. Of course, the Go doesn't have those responsibilities as well. It doesn't have the active cooling, but we could see some cross-platform multiplayer play, because a lot of people are wondering, do I just sell my Go? Do I just sell it? Do I give it to my little nephew? What am I going to do with the Go? So you might want to hold on to it for a minute here. But like if we look at the very bottom of this article, it says that they're basically expecting about 50 titles to be available for the Oculus Quest launch. So it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big thing, and this is just around the corner. That's what's exciting here. Just the other day, we were talking about the trough of disillusionment. In fact, I think it was actually yesterday. Get ready to live in the trough, guys. We are dirty, filthy pigs, and we are going to live in the trough of disillusionment for quite some time. But the flip side is, as we get into this month of March and GDC starts kicking up, and we know the Oculus Quest is just around the corner, that is going to be a shot of excitement. It is going to be a shot of adrenaline into the arms of the VR gaming industry in general. It is going to be a fresh shot of adrenaline when the Oculus Quest releases, and hopefully this can kind of jumpstart a new wave of enthusiasm. And we were talking about all these other people yesterday that we were talking about people that have PlayStation VRs and Oculus Rifts. They bought them, they no longer use them. They're sitting in their closet, they're collecting dust. And we lamented that, and we were like, oh, this is just totally depressing that there'd be people that would buy these headsets and they would shelve them. Like, that's some of the most damning criticism of current generation VR you can possibly have, is the fact that somebody could take their Rift and it could just be collecting dust and they're not using it anymore. But one little exciting part of this whole Oculus Quest thing is, if anything, we got to imagine friction will be dramatically reduced with the Oculus Quest, and it's 100% wireless from the get-go. And so hopefully there will be media types at like IGN, GameSpot, all these different media outlets. Hopefully some of these guys might fall in love with the Quest, and then maybe we can generate a little bit of hype around the Quest. The Quest could be another shot in the arm. I'm really hoping for that, and that is going to be coming up in March, so we are looking forward to that. All right, as we continue to go down the entire Oculus line of talk, we might as well go ahead and talk about the daily deal for Oculus, which is something we cover every single day. Episode 100 is no different. What is the daily deal? Well, it's actually a pretty good game here. This is SkyWorld, and SkyWorld is 48% off today on this Oculus daily deal. You can grab it for 13 bucks. You got a little bit over 11 hours here left in this deal. Normal price is 25 bucks. The ratings are very good. We've got 74 ratings here, and it's a little bit over 4 stars. A little bit over 4 out of 5. I've heard a lot of good things about SkyWorld. I don't believe I've ever played SkyWorld, but one thing I do know when it comes to VR, I don't know if there is any genre in gaming overall that has been more transformed automatically with virtual reality than the real-time strategy genre. Like, I'm not a real-time strategy guy, but I've already seen Brass Tactics and Tabletop Gods. Now, Tabletop Gods arrived in January. Very good. It is a very good game. I should play it a hell of a lot more. It is a damn good game. Brass Tactics is an awesome game, and a lot of people really love SkyWorld. SkyWorld is a fan favorite for people that are into these RTS games. We, of course, know SkyWorld is making its way over to PlayStation VR sometime this quarter as well. Mysterious Mr. X says, starting to see more VR RTSs now. I like that genre. Also love tower defense. Yeah, there, you know, you kind of get the tower defense, real-time strategy. Yeah, actually, tower defense works incredibly well in VR as well. So, and you're kind of like mixing and matching with these in terms of these kinds of games. And I haven't actually played SkyWorld, but not a bad deal for 13. I know there's some people that feel SkyWorld is a bit more advanced than Brass Tactics. It's a little bit more for hardcore RTS guys, and say Brass Tactics is kind of for babies, some people might say. And SkyWorld is hitting PlayStation VR in the not too distant future. But if you got an Oculus Rift, you want to grab it, 13 bones, not a bad deal. Okay, so we've gone through most of the stuff that I had today. You know what? We do have a sale, though, that is going on in PlayStation Land. Okay, Conrad Lawrence says Tabletop Gods is not RTS. I was really disappointed and refunded it. Well, whatever the hell it is, I like it. I like Tabletop Gods a lot. What is it if it's not RTS? Is it just basically, is it like a tower defense? Tower defense against tower defense? What would you describe it as? See, I'm not much of a tower defense guy or a real-time strategy guy. Like, the only real tower defense game I ever got in, was there a game called Pixel Junk Monsters that was on PlayStation 3? And I think it was on the Vita, and it was on PlayStation 3. I think it was called Pixel Junk Monsters. I played that a little bit, and that was a tower defense game, I believe. And I've never really played any real-time strategies hardly until I got to Brass Tactics. And, well, I played Tethered. I've also played Tethered. Tethered is kind of real-time strategy as well. But yeah, these games just work so damn good with VR, so they're just a natural. Okay, so PlayStation is having a number of sales here. Let's see if I can find this. Where was this at? Okay, so this is the Critics' Choice. So this sale has just gotten started. And here's the deal. If you have PlayStation Plus, you could get some of these games for a really good deal. Now, I was looking at the deals here. Transference is $12.49, or it's $10 if you got PlayStation Plus. Transpose is $12 or $10 if you got PlayStation Plus. The Persistence is $21, or it's $18 if you've got PlayStation Plus. Thumper, $7 or $5 if you got Plus. In Space, $8 or $6 if you got PlayStation Plus. Dirt Rally VR Bundle. This is the entire package of Dirt Rally. It's $15, or if you're a PS Plus guy, 10 bones for the Dirt Rally VR Bundle. Super Hot is about $19 or $15 if you got PlayStation Plus. And Loading Human Chapter 1 is $12 or $10 if you have PlayStation Plus. And there's a whole bunch of games here. I mean, there's all kinds of PSVR games, but they have the VR games kind of mixed in here. And I found pretty much all of the VR games out of it. And I would say out of this entire deal, like if I go down, where's Transference? I would say Transference is the deal of the day for me. Transference, yeah, the normal price for Transference is $25. You're getting it for half off at $12.50, and if you're PS Plus, you're getting it for a 10 spot. I think, you know, if you don't have an Oculus Rift, if you don't have an HTC Vive or Windows Mixed Reality, if the only way you're going to experience Transference is on your PlayStation VR, I would grab this baby. It was one of my favorite games of 2018, no joke. And I played the Walter test case demo on PlayStation VR. That was my first experience of Transference ever, and I thought the game engine ran pretty well. And that demo is probably, I don't know if the demo is still out there, if that demo got removed, but if you're curious about it, maybe see if you can grab that Walter test case demo, try it in your PSVR, and if you like it, you can grab this for $12.50 or $10. That's Transference. Of course, we see Transpose right underneath it. That is on a deal as well. Thumper. We basically went through all of them. So there's a couple of decent deals that are going on over there. Okay, so another little story we want to get into here is Unearthing Mars 2, The Ancient War. Now, I remember when this game came to PlayStation VR, and I had a minor amount of excitement for this game when it was coming to PlayStation VR, mainly for the fact that this game really took advantage of your aim controller, and the trailer looked really good for this game. The trailer made the game seem pretty cool. And Unearthing Mars, the very first one, was kind of like a meh. I never played it myself, but most of the reviews were like, not really, not very good, was pretty much the gist of it. But what I didn't realize is this is coming to Steam. It's coming to Steam. I'm guessing it might hit Oculus Store as well. It says that it is compatible with the Vive and the Oculus Rift. You do have tracked motion controllers. And this is coming on February 25th. Did everybody know about this? I don't know if I just somehow missed this. I didn't know that this was arriving on Steam and everything. Of course, again, if you go and take a look at the reviews for the PlayStation VR version, the reviews were not so hot. So you might want to be a little bit careful with that. But you know what? I grabbed the trailer for this. Let's go ahead and check the trailer out again. I'm not sure if this is a new trailer or if it's the standard trailer, but the trailer actually makes it look pretty good. And this game is coming on February 25th. Let's check this trailer out real quick. I'm going to go ahead and pump the volume on Downward Spiral. And let's check out this Unearthly Mars trailer.
And I've thought about it every single day.
Co-pilot, are you okay?
It's not the same without Catherine.
Then let's begin. Activate.
How many people die in this war? Why are we the ones who must perish?
Because I
understand better than you understand yourselves.
How exactly?
You're a mouthpiece. My mouthpiece.
Don't stop moving. Let's do it.
Simpson, listen. We have to shut down the Arc device.
Okay, so that is the Unearthing Mars 2 trailer. And like I said, we saw the trailer for this. You see the aim controller right there. We saw the trailer for this when this was coming to PlayStation VR, and I thought this trailer looked really good. Like, this is an example of a polished, well-done trailer that can make you think the game is way the hell better than it really is. But we see a lot of amateur hour trailers that are really bad, and here's an example of a trailer that had me hyped for this game. I was legitimately hyped for this when this was coming to PlayStation VR. Part of the reason I was hyped for it too was I had just gotten an aim controller with Farpoint, and so when you get an aim controller, you start getting itchy trigger fingers to have other games that use that aim controller. You know, it was Firewall 0 Hour actually. I got the Firewall 0 Hour bundle, and you want to start using your aim controller in other games. And this game looked like it really featured the aim controller in a major way. And I thought the trailer looked really good. I thought everything looked pretty decent about it. But I know when this game hit PlayStation VR, when this one first hit, everybody that tried it was like, this is just not that good. So I didn't even bother like trying to get a key or anything. So I've never actually played this. But yeah, this is coming to Steam, and I'm assuming it's coming to Oculus Store. What was it? Was it February? Let's see here. Yeah, February 25th is the release date for this. Now, the good news is you're talking about higher resolution and you're talking about better tracking. That is true. When these games come over to the Oculus Rift and to HTC Vive, Windows Mixed Reality, etc., you're going to get a boost in your tracking. It's going to be more 360, and you've got better controllers as well for your motion controllers. So there could be some improvements here. We'll have to see what the price is on this and see what the early reviews are. But that is Unearthing Mars 2, The Ancient War. Okay, so let's see here. Where there's some other little things. I have a couple of a couple of off the beaten path things to get into real quick. So why don't we go ahead and do that? Okay, so you might remember back to February 1st when we had a little montage of all the games that we were expecting in February. And we saw stuff like Dick Wild 2, Shadow Legend VR, the different games that were coming out in this month of February. And one of the games that was tentatively scheduled for February was this game right here. It's called Area of Darkness Sentinel. And you guys might remember this one. We saw the trailer for this. Kind of reminds us a little bit of like a Tomb Raider, like a Tomb Raider knockoff in VR a little bit. Developer is Rematch Studios, and we can see right here it says March 2019. So this used to say February 2019. I don't have any actual news. I don't have any actual information here other than the fact that somebody got in here and they changed February to March. So Area of Darkness Sentinel will not be arriving this month in all likelihood, and now we got to hope for March. So if you're wondering about this one, looking like it's moving into the month of March, which is fine, although March is starting to get a little bit more crowded. We are having some games that are starting to get in the month of March and secure themselves a little launch beach area there. Okay, so while I was looking for some upcoming games, I noticed a couple of things that kind of caught my eye a little bit. And one of the things that caught my eye was this Steam page right here. Now, I don't know. I feel like I've never seen this Steam page before. Maybe I saw it a long, long time ago and I completely forgot about it. But do you guys remember Quinero? Quinero is an awesome experience. It is a super awesome experience that you can get. It is 100% free. In fact, well, so anyways, this one is called Quinero 2 System Release. And this was going to be like some type of follow-up to the original Quinero. Now, the developer and the publisher is LaserBoys 3000. And you can see here it says available summer 2018. So I don't know if this is like a really old Steam page that got lost in the shuffle. Maybe I forgot about it, or I don't know what this deal is. But I was looking at all the upcoming games and I saw this Quinero 2 System Release. And I'm like, oh man, dude, are they going to have a follow-up to Quinero? Because I loved Quinero. What Quinero reminded me of, it was kind of like a detective thing. It was almost like you were doing like a Sherlock Holmes detective thing, like a situation had happened on this space station, like a murder or some kind of like terrorist act basically happened on a space station. And then what you could do is you were able to walk around and you basically had the ability to rewind time and to fast forward time, and you could basically watch these things happen from different vantage points, and you could try to figure out what really happened, like who was really responsible for the terrorist act that happened on this space station. That's what happened with the original Quinero. And I believe this game was made, like I believe the original Quinero, I don't know if it's made by like some college, or I forget who actually made this, but I think it was like some type of college project. But what they say here is, in our first VR project, Quinero VR, we've introduced a time manipulation device for a VR story. It's time to go one step further. Now, it's not just about watching the story, but actively seeking for decisive events and connect these to a causal network of evidence in order to prove accusations or to refute them. To achieve that, we have developed a new storytelling concept which is tied to the game mechanic. See, I really thought, like the original game, I'm going to go ahead and click here on LaserBoys 3000. Okay, so here's the original Quinero VR. And this thing has been available forever and a day, guys. This was available way back on August 12th. 2016. So this was the very first year of VR. This was the beginning days of VR. Back in that first August that we got VR, and it's free. It's free to play. It's kind of like an interactive experience, and basically this whole thing unfolds, and you have all these like alien guys, and like a bomb goes off, and like somebody shoots somebody, and basically you can kind of rewind time. Like if you guys have not tried this, you are missing out. You've got to try it. It's free. It's on Steam. There's no reason why you shouldn't try this. So absolutely try this, because after I played it, I thought of a couple of things. First of all, I was thinking of, man, what is that game? What is that game that EA did? Well, it wasn't EA, but like EA bought them, right? And it was like an RPG. Man, I'm completely forgetting the name of this game. But there was like a space hub, and oh my God, I can't believe I completely forgot the name of this game. But anyway, this little thing kind of reminded me of being in the space hub. I can't believe I can't think of the name of that game. It's who's the developer of Anthem? You know the game that came out recently called Anthem? Who's the developer of Anthem? Because that developer, like, what was their original game? It was, oh my God, I can't believe I'm forgetting this. Anyway, but like the aliens and stuff, like you see these different aliens sitting here, and there's different aliens, and people are walking around and stuff, and it just kind of reminded me of being in that hub world of that other game. And it's kind of like a detective thing. And I remember back in the days of Sega CD, I remember playing like Sherlock Holmes and all of that, Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. And I thought, man, VR is perfect for having like an Anthem is BioWare. Okay, yeah. What is BioWare's major game? Mass Effect. There it is. Mass Effect. I can't believe I had a complete brain fart. Mass Effect. Okay, in the very first Mass Effect, do you guys remember when you get to that one space hub and there's like all these different aliens and stuff, and you're like on this space hub, and it's really cool? When I was in Quinero, it reminded me, it felt like a little piece of the Mass Effect space hub almost. And I kind of was reminded of like Mass Effect and how cool that space hub was there. How awesome would it be, by the way, if we could play Mass Effect in VR? You know, there's an old game that could be redone in VR, and you know, you get to that space station and you're kind of exploring the space station, and there's these different aliens and stuff, and it had that whole Star Trek vibe and everything. Mass Effect, yeah, that's what this reminded me of when I kind of first got into it. It kind of reminded me of the Mass Effect world, and it basically is like a detective thing, and I think this could be done so incredibly well. And I remember when I first tried this, I thought, man, I hope whoever these guys are, I hope they follow this up and they do another one. And then that's when I found that Steam page that we just saw for Quinero 2. But I hope this thing still exists, because I don't know, for some reason I don't remember this Steam page. Like, this is not ringing a bell for me. But what I did do, guys, is I grabbed this little trailer here, but I grabbed it off Steam, so it's super low resolution, but I converted it to 1080p. But why don't we go ahead and check this trailer out real quick? This is Quinero 2 system release. Maybe, hopefully, please, hopefully this thing is still coming, because I think this will be super cool. But let's go ahead and check out this trailer. I'm going to switch back over here to my standard scene, and we're going to pump the volume up here.
Imagine, you are a detective in the future, and you got access to the best monitoring system ever created. You can reconstruct entire crime scenes in VR, move freely in the scenes, and you even can manipulate the time to get to the bottom of the facts. This is Quinero System Release, a new way to experience stories in VR.
We are a team of students at the University of Applied Sciences in Salzburg. In summer 2016, we released Quinero, our first VR project. It was downloaded over 100,000 times and received a lot of very positive feedback. That's why we decided to keep refining the concept and develop Quinero 2.
Now we are a bigger team with more development time. Therefore, we are able to build several and more complex scenes. We created more than 200 scans of our actors and used their own avatars for motion capturing and facial animation in order to create as believable characters as possible.
Our goal is to create a new form of presence in a story, where we not just present you the plot of the narrative, but send you in many different scenes with many different characters to search for plot points by yourself and let you connect them independently to a story.
To achieve that, we have developed a new storytelling concept, which is tied to a game mechanic. For instance, you'll be able to mark suspicious events and connect them in a causal network of evidence to prove or disprove presumptions and accusations.
During the development process, we will surely encounter many problems and insights and want to share them with you. So if you are interested in our project or in VR, follow us and help us to push this still new medium forward.
All right, well, there it is. I really, really, really hope this thing is still being worked on. Man, I hope they are really, I hope these guys are still working on this because this looks super cool. Let me check out Quinero.com and just see if there's anything on there. I hope it doesn't say Quinero 2 was canceled. So very sorry. Quinero.com. Okay, here it is. Recent blog posts. This is way back on March 30th, man. Oh, God, I hope these guys, please, for the love of God, I hope these guys are still working on this because summer 2018 is a long time ago. That did not happen. But let's pray and hope that these guys are still banging away because Quinero, the very first Quinero, was awesome. This is a no-budget student project. Part of the equipment was provided to us by the University of Applied Sciences Salzburg, but we bear all the expenses for our actors. We are happy about every donation to cover our costs. The received money will be managed and forwarded to us by the Sergei Einstein Society in support of student products. So guys, if you want to donate, we need to find out though, like, is this thing still alive? If this is still alive, I'd like to donate $5 to this. Because I really like this original product. I mean, this original project. Their first Quinero 1 was awesome. Quinero 1 was super awesome. As part of the bachelor's program at the University of Applied Sciences Salzburg, we have developed the experimental VR experience Quinero. Yeah, it's a scene in a futuristic diner where a huge explosion happens and the audience has to find out which of the many guests are responsible for the incident. Super, super cool. I really like that. And I really hope that they are working on, I mean, I hope this thing still exists. It would really suck if that thing no longer exists. But anyway, guys, that is Quinero 2 system release. That is one thing I did want to highlight. Now, another thing I wanted to highlight, again, I'm looking through Steam pages and I'm looking for games that are kind of unknown and flying under the radar. And there's this game, I was looking at games that are coming up, and there's this game called Into the Radius VR. Have you guys seen this one? I saw the Steam page for this, and I was looking at, like, you know, Into the Radius is a dark FPS set in a zone filled with harmful and dangerous anomalies. Explore the environment, scavenge for artifacts, use cunning and stealth to survive. This Belt for VR game is currently in development with focus on hardcore gameplay and realistic weapon interaction. This is being developed by CM Games, and I'm looking at some of the pictures and stuff, and I don't know, this looks cool to me. I like this idea. You know, it's kind of like some sci-fi thing. You know, something happened, maybe some weird-ass alien ship landed somewhere, and it's like, you know, it looks trippy, it looks cool. I really like this type of stuff. I'm a sci-fi guy, you know, I'm really into the whole sci-fi thing. And look at that. Look at this like weird guy coming at you, and there's like this weird thing here. I love this type of stuff. And this is called Into the Radius VR. And I was able to, there is a trailer for this. There's actually a beta that's going on and everything. There's a Discord and stuff. So you can actually try to get into this beta if you join up the Discord. I kind of want to find out more about this. But let's go ahead and bounce back over. Oh, I'm in the standard scene. Oh my God, I didn't even switch over. What I was talking about here is this, guys. Sorry, forgot. This is like the second time I've done this. I'm talking about this game right here. It's called Into the Radius by CM Games, and it looks pretty freaking cool. I like these pictures. I like what they got going on here. I think it has a good design, looks pretty sweet. Yeah, it does. It looks like Stalker. It kind of reminds me of those old Stalker games, which those games would be perfect for VR. But this kind of also has like an alien sci-fi paranormal kind of a bent to it as well, which I appreciate that as well. But yeah, I went ahead and grabbed a trailer for this, and so let's go ahead and check that trailer out. So we'll go back to my standard scene here. Gotta remember to switch. Okay, here we go. Let me pump up the volume a little bit. Okay, so that is Into the Radius VR, and I gotta tell you, I don't know, I might like the premise of this game better than the realization of the game, you know what I mean? Like the whole sci-fi idea behind it, I might like the whole sci-fi idea behind it much more than I actually like what they've delivered here. Like this might be quite indie in a major way. I mean, it looks kind of indie. Watching the trailer, watching like the gun shooting and stuff, watching the enemies, looks very, very indie. But I like the idea of it. And who was it in chat that mentioned Stalker? Yeah, Paradise mentioned it. And Stalker in VR, like all those games, all the different Stalker games in VR would make so much sense. It really would. And that is the vibe that I'm kind of getting from this. And it also has a bit of a paranormal kind of vibe to it as well. Kind of reminds me of that movie. What was that movie? Was it called Monsters? It was like a... It was a really low budget movie, and the guy that directed it went on to direct, I believe, the Star Wars movie, Rogue Leader or Rogue Squadron or whatever. He went to direct that movie, but his first movie was this really low budget movie called Monsters that was filmed on a hell of a budget. And I don't know, for some reason this reminds me of that a little bit, but it's called Into the Radius VR. And yeah, if you join their Discord server, you can possibly get a free beta key for that. Radius keys are all out, so they're all out of the keys right now. But yeah, maybe in the future they'll have it. But it's called Into the Radius VR. I just think it looks kind of cool, so that is one to keep our eyes on as well. But anyway, guys, that's going to go ahead and do it for this episode of VR 365. Let me go ahead and get my little outro logo onto the screen here. I got to bounce out of here. I got to get going. But yeah, that's going to go ahead and do it for this particular episode. Now, I do have some news to get into. Well, I mean, not really news, but just some stuff to keep you guys up to date on. VR Roundtable tomorrow. We're going to be doing an interview with the guy that wrote that new Oculus book. He's the guy that did the book Console Wars. You know, back in the day, Blake, I forget the guy's name. I don't have it in front of me right now, but we're going to be interviewing him tomorrow on our VR Roundtable episode, which will be starting right around 9. So that's going to probably be a pretty fascinating episode. I think there's actually going to be 5 of us total that are going to be on VR Roundtable tomorrow. All 4 of us, and then our guest is going to be there. So VR Roundtable tomorrow at around 9 in the morning should be quite interesting. And then after that is all over with, when we get into the Sunday Fun Day episode of VR 365, Jay Pace is going to be my special guest. He's going to come on the show. He's going to call in about 8 minutes or so into the Sunday episode. And Jay is going to come on and we're going to talk all kinds of VR stuff. And Jay is a bit more of a hardcore VR player. He's got most of the headsets and everything, so we're going to really dive into the weeds of being a hardcore VR player. So it's almost going to be like a community spotlight episode, but we're going to go ahead and just do it on VR 365 live on the Sunday episode because, yeah, Blake J. Harris, there's Conrad Lawrence. Blake J. Harris is the guy that wrote the book Console Wars. You know, it's about the old days of Nintendo and Sega and all of that. And then he has a brand new book that he's basically promoting that's coming out very soon about the history of Oculus and all of that. So we are going to get on there tomorrow on VR Roundtable. We'll be talking to him about that. So that should probably be a very interesting episode. And then we will be talking, and then we're going to have an even more interesting guest on my show, Jay Pace. Yeah, who wants to hear from Blake J. Harris? We're going to have so much more of an interesting guest, Jay Pace. He didn't write any books, but he has played a hell of a lot of VR games. And so we're going to have him on tomorrow. That should be really fun. All right, guys. So I will see everybody tomorrow. Have a wonderful Saturday. Get out there and play some VR games. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy. Have a good one. Later.